members of the clergy, family, and friends. I met Gary back in using common vernacular when Yvonne and Gary were courting. Yvonne was one of my wife's best friends. They came up through high school together, and they were very close. That preceded or exceeded the high school and on into college, you know, etc. Yvonne and Gary, they were going together and all, and they would come by the house and all, and Yvonne asked Melba, Melba and I had just moved into our, you know, our new home where we were residing now, and it was in pretty good shape at the time, you know, and so they asked, or Yvonne asked Melba if they could get married. They wanted a small private wedding. They could get married at our house and have the wedding reception at our house. Of course, we agreed, and they had the wedding in the living room there, and then we came out for the reception. People started coming in, and anybody knows Gary knows that he is sort of a nervous type person, shall I say. And Gary about as nervous as he could be. And what you can understand, most of us are very nervous at our weddings. So he was in the reception line, and a few people came in, and I was there, going into another room, and all of a sudden Gary appeared at the door. He said, "Man, come here a minute." I said, "Okay, what's up?" He said, "I need for you to stand in for me." He said, "I got to go use it." And I'm standing in line, you know, and I know people kind of confused. First thing I was telling them was, "I'm not the husband, I'm just substituting right now, you know." And Gary stayed so long and wanted to punch me, said, "You think you need to go find him?" You know. So finally Gary came back. By that time, most of the guests had already come in, you know. So we had to reintroduce all over, you know, again. And that began a very serious relationship between us. Gary was truly a friend, and our families were truly friends. We got together almost every week. We'd come over, and of course we loved to play cards, and we loved to party, this type of thing, you know. And Gary was working at the post office at the time, and Gary had the night shift. He'd get off around 11 o'clock particularly on Friday nights, and the children would be over at our house, you know. Yvonne would have brought Karen over, and she and Felicia, they would be in there, and we would actually start playing cards when Gary got off from work about 11:30. And boy, we were very, very, very competitive, you know. And we would play and play, and sometimes, we would play until the sun would come up, you know, on Saturday morning. And this continued, you know, over a period of time. Even went to our extended family. Maybe we would go up to Dallas, and maybe them would always entertain us graciously. We'd spend a weekend, you know, there, and we knew that was going to be good party time and good eating time when we went, you know, to Dallas. The relationship that we had was really somewhat unique. I noticed, you know, Gary was a pharmacist. Well, I had science background. You know, I majored in zoology and had a minor in botany and in chemistry. Well, Gary put this to use when he was in pharmacy school. And Gary would come over, and we would study together. I had no interest in pharmacy, but Gary would put me down, and we would study that chemistry and whatever biology was necessary. And by the time we finished, I felt like I could have taken the exam for pharmacy and got a degree, you know. But we helped each other out, and then we would come to each other's rescue, you know, like that. When we would play cards and all at the length, and I would fix breakfast a lot of times. I cook what I call my country breakfast. Me and my people were from East Texas and so forth, you know, and my grandmother, when we had breakfast, you would always have at least 2 different kinds of meats. Most of the time, 3 different kinds of meat, you know. And I would do the same thing. I would cook, you know, that, you know. Boy and Karen said, well, I like to go to Uncle Forrest's house for breakfast because he cooks his country breakfast, you know. So things went on, you know, and on. And this development continued when Gary ran for the city, position of city councilman. He wanted me to be his chairman. I couldn't be his chairman, though, of his campaign because my brother was running at the same time for a position, and he asked me to be his campaign chairman. So I had to do that. I wasn't going to try to take on 2 campaigns, you know, as such. And Gary, when he believed in his politics, and when he was appointed to the position of director of solid waste, you know, as a result of his politics and all, he was looking out for me again. He had this position that he wanted me to take. He had it in a good paying position and all, and he came to me with it. You know, I had to turn him down on it because the money that they were paying, I was already making more money than what they were offering. And the car, he said, well, man, he wasn't going to give up. He said, well, it's a car that goes with the position. I said, well, Gary, I already have a car. You know, I said, and you know how the political game is. As long as your candidate is in, that's good. But once your candidate leaves, you leave. You know? I say, and I will be looking for a job again. And I already have a steady job that's, you know, that's secure. So I'm sorry, buddy, but I'm going to have to turn this one down on, you know. But that just shows the kind of relationship, you know, that we had. When Gary Quinn died, a very unfortunate incident, and I was sitting up there the night, I think it was the night before the funeral, and telephone rang, and it was Gary on the other end, and he asked me, he said, hey, buddy. I said, yeah. He said, I need for you to do something for me. I said, well, what is that? He said, I need for you to read what I'm supposed to say over Gary. I said, what? And I was already very emotional about the situation anyway, because, you know, as tight as we were, little Gary was just like, you know, son of mine. So I couldn't turn him down, so I told him, yes, I would. Well, the day of when we got to the funeral, you know, and Gary said, well, I have everything written down. I said, okay. And I said, you won't have to do anything, just read off what I have. I said, and that's great. So when it came time, you know, he said, on the program, it says that, you know, that Dad would read this program. The safe words. Well, I got up, you know, with the paper in my hand, came up, just as nervous as I could be and emotional as I could be, you know, and got up here, and I started just reading what Gary had down there. And I'm talking about son this and son that, you know, and people looking. I guess they say, what in the world is going on? You know, and I forgot to say that I was reading this for Gary, you know. So if the people who didn't know us that well probably thought, you know, hey, I might be in the father, and I guess they wonder what kind of relationship did y'all have? You know? But anyway, I finished, and as it would be, Reverend Lawson caught what was happening, and he came up and he explained to the crowd that Gary felt like he was unable to say what he had to say. He wasn't going to be able to do it. And he had asked me if I would do this on his behalf. And I was so relieved because then a lot of people, you know, understood. I told Karen, I know we say 2 minutes, and I know I have gone over just a little bit. I'm going to quit now, okay? But Gary was truly a friend. We were friends to the end, and buddy, we will always be friends. I'm so happy and pleased to have been a friend of yours.